Thank you, Taylor. This is always the most favorite part of my job, presenting to sales leaders, salespeople, marketing people. And every time I present, what I like to be able to do is provide some added value, obviously to the listeners, that you feel that you know a little bit more about how to fill the pipeline up. That's the topic of this meeting is, of this session, after the webinar that you did before. And I always try to get a new quote the day of the webinar, and this is one I found from the State of Sales Execution 2015. It's a report that just came out from Covidian. And I don't disagree with this, and I don't think any sales VP would disagree with this, but 60% of the buyers today are disengaging with sales teams because the sales reps didn't present value. And all of us have opinions as to why that's the case. And hopefully today I'll walk you through some of the challenges here of why this is happening, but more important, a really solid solution as how you can prevent this and increase revenue. This is a very high level at what an enterprise B2B sales process looks like. And everyone on the call I know is from a major enterprise or a major division at an enterprise. Your sales cycles are long, and also the deal sizes are big. They're in usually the 6 figures and sometimes 7 and even 8 figures. So the process is long, and it starts very simply by people putting a lot of millions of dollars into marketing automation systems to create qualified leads. In some cases, hopefully the customer calls in, and then that is passed to an organization, say an inside sales group, to follow up on the quality leads, or if the lead is hot enough, it goes right to the salesperson. And the outcome of that, hopefully, is creating more customer meetings. And customer meetings is your opportunity, either face-to-face or it is becoming more popular to do with an inside sales organization, to create the need for your solution to become of the customer's decision process. You can't win a deal unless you get into the competition or get into the mix. And it's very, very important that only these deals, these meetings, that they create qualified pipeline. And qualified pipeline sometimes is a process that reps follow. It's a methodology in the sales organization, or in a lot of cases, it's beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So the sales rep will put a deal into the qualified pipeline, and at that point, significant resources are usually extended on that opportunity. Well, the reality is that according to Sales Benchmark Institute, which is a very reputable source of sales information, 60% of the forecasted deals in the pipeline do nothing. It's a pretty scary statistic. And when I talk to sales VPs, I often ask them about this, and I'm getting a number between 50 and 75%. So this 60% looks pretty solid, which means that after a lot of work, after a lot of process, and a lot of resources, you lose to no decision or status quo. And it's important that we all understand this. Is it the sales rep's fault? I'm not sure. But how can you present, how can you reduce this 60%? Because right now, sales reps, at least in my experience, are going to this part of the sales cycle, which is the most critical, with a standard 35, 40, even 45-page PowerPoint presentation to talk about their company. And in today's day and age of the internet, where we have a much more educated buyer, especially in the B2B space, they wouldn't be talking to you unless they've already vetted out the company or your solution. It really is probably safe to say a technology of the past. So qualifying a deal at this point by ending a presentation with something like, thank you for your time, we enjoyed your presentation, we'll caucus after the meeting, and we'll let you know the next steps. That used to be a qualified opportunity. In today's world, it is not. And why is it? Well, there's a term that's become very popular, which is sales readiness. And for the marketing people on the call, how is your collateral or your tools helping the sales rep become ready for that sales call? because very little of the sales rep's time, as you know, is spent in front of the customer. So when you get a 1 hour or an hour and a half meeting in front of key recommenders or decision makers, they really have to nail it, or as I call, win that sales call. And according to Forrester, this is a survey that a lot of us use. They did a study that said, ask the question, are vendor sales reps frequently prepared for your meetings? And if they are, in which ways? And if they're not, in which ways aren't they? And all the sales reps, and I'm sure it's because of the presentation, come across as being extremely knowledgeable of their company and their products, and their features and their benefits. But as far as this says, that's not why that decision maker took the meeting. These large B2B enterprise deals involve some pretty important people in the sales call, even in the early stages, because they're key recommenders. So how do you get to the next step? Well, one of the ways isn't leaving the meeting with the customer thinking, like Forrester is saying, almost 80% of the time, that rep did not understand my issues and where they can help. Or they don't understand, they don't relate to my role and responsibilities. All customers are polite, so they'll smile, they'll thank you, but they leave there, according to Forrester, over 80% of the time thinking that this was really a waste of time. So what can we do to help the salespeople? Well, the salespeople, when they have one of these meetings, they go through a lot of time and panic trying to set up the exact presentation for the customer. And there's a lot of content management systems out there that take in millions of pieces of content so you can access them. But it's really not that personalized. It's really not that focused. So the sales rep, this is a scary statistic according to CSO Insights, spends about 60% of their time hunting for the right sales content and resources to present to a major deal opportunity and qualify the customer using this content. This is a tough statistic to look at, but it's reality. So, what are 5 ways that we can help the salespeople, and more important, that the sales rep can help themselves? Well, first and foremost, when I talk to sales VPs, what they're hoping their sales rep does is, number 1, present the value proposition early in the sales cycle. Because again, 50 to 75% of those qualified deals end up in no decision. So you want more qualified opportunities there. Early in the sales cycle, and talk about the numbers. Talk about what ROI, what TCO am I bringing to the table, or similar customers like you are getting from my offering. It includes 3 to 4 value or business drivers, such as operating expenses, movement, decreasing. So I'm here to show you how we can decrease your operating expenses in a metric by 30% and quantify it, which would equal $15 million a year. Would you be interested in learning how customers similar to you are doing that? Or it could be a positive value drivers as well. And the first thought in the customer's mind is, what assumptions did you make? And when you put up a value proposition in the customer's industry with customers' terms, B2B companies know what these key drivers are, and they can pick 3 of them or 4 of them, and they can make an assumption. For example, in a hospital, if you're calling on hospitals, it could be based on a number of beds in that hospital. So you could say this is based on a hospital with 1,000 beds. And after you put in the information, graphics appear, pie charts or bar charts or waterfalls that show the customer the impact of these assumptions and value drivers on their business. And relevant content, and that instead of that sales rep having to look through hundreds of pieces of content, that the sales rep can take a case study or a video or a research study or an award the customer gets and show it instantly, which matches that industry. The third piece is I call it a calculator feature, and this is really important. You want your sales rep to get into a collaborative conversation with the customer early on in the sales call and not listen to 30, 40 slides with few comments and end the meeting. And this is what I call a moment of truth in a call. If a customer says, we don't have 1,000 beds in our hospital, we have 3,000. And the sales rep could say, okay, let's change that 2,000 to 3,000 and see what it does to your ROI and TCO. And that's when the magic starts happening. 2, do your reps a favor. Create a repository and start with 2 to 3, what we call master value propositions. These are value propositions that are written specifically and developed specifically for that industry that your sales rep is calling on, whether it be financial services, manufacturing, high tech, healthcare, but it's a value proposition intended to have a collaborative business conversation at the meeting. And these products should be products that are important to you, and products that over the next 12 to 24 months that will yield the revenue and the margins that you would like or you need, and also have competitive differentiation. 3, most important, you saw the picture of that befuddled sales rep. Make it very easy. And I say, if a sales rep cannot find a master value proposition in less than 15 seconds, then the tool that you're using is not right. Because in a lot of cases, sales reps do not have the time to do the research they need when a customer calls and wants a presentation, either online or in person. So you have to be able to provide a tool in the cloud that has 7 by 24 by 365 access for the sales reps worldwide. 4, and this is really important, test it. Before you roll it out to thousands of salespeople or hundreds of salespeople, take that small group of reps with these 2 to 3 products and show them how easy it is to access the value proposition. And have the reps, usually these reps are supported by some form of pre-sales. And last is, as a result of the test, you should get 1 or 2 or 3 success stories. And it's really important you evangelize it to the sales reps. You know, if you want the sales reps to adopt the tool, tell them they can't have it, right? Or tell them that somebody else is using it that had some success. And success in a 12 to 18 to 24-month sales cycle is a whole bunch of different reasons. Able to get in accounts we haven't been able to get into before because the competition has it, or getting to the next meeting with the decision maker faster with the tool than without the tool. These are major success stories that actually help shorten the sales cycle and evangelize that and the outcomes of that. And our best customers, they actually put these reps and pre-sales people on a call, on a webcast, and the adoption then just comes rolling in and it scales tremendously. Let me just walk through one quick conservative example of what this can do. Now, you've heard the term the middle of the sales force. Well, if you take an enterprise sales force and you look at it this way, where the middle, those are really the people who are doing a bulk of the transactions and a bulk of the demos and a bulk of the calls. The reps on the right, they get all the support that they need, and they have very large ticket item deals, usually $1 million up to 10, 20, $100 million. And the new accounts way on the left are usually entry-level sales reps who are just learning the business. But if you take a typical example maybe of 200 sales reps, and the average deal with the middle of the sales reps is $100,000, that's 160 reps. Now think about how many, if you could get additional qualified value opportunities in the pipeline using value propositions, what that would mean to a sales VP. Sales VPs say to me, Dick, I have a good sales process. My challenge is getting more really qualified opportunities into that sales process. So if you just said, if you get 1 qualified sales opportunity per rep, that would have an opportunity of $16 million on the top line. Now, in reality is your top reps will end up doing 4, 5, 6 opportunities. So if you get a close rate of 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10 of those opportunities, the opportunity in the top line is between 3.2 million and 4.8 million. I happen to think these are very conservative numbers, and you certainly should get higher. But this is the type of impact that a value proposition can have on your business when you present it early in the sales cycle and have more qualified, really truly qualified opportunities. What I'm going to do now is have Brian, of major accounts, who is a sales rep that presents a lot to sales VPs, presents this opportunity, and show you just a typical example of how a sales rep would use the tool. Thank you.